thank you for having me. Good afternoon to your cherished listeners and viewers on TV.
We are learning that we have enough vaccines in supply. In the past, it has been the issue which undermined our quest to achieve herd immunity. Has that changed now?
Well, good afternoon once again. We have enough vaccines, as you said. So far, we've received about 30.4 million doses. We've deployed or distributed most of them. We still have about 6 million plus in our cold room. Every district, every region, every facility has vaccines, and we are deploying. And so the situation is not as it used to be when we started earlier on last year. It's changed drastically.
So how many have we administered so far in terms of fully vaccinated and also those who have only received at least one jab?
Okay, so from the onset of the vaccination exercise, we've done close to 14.3 million doses. Out of this, about 10 million have received at least a dose, and a little over 5.6 million are fully vaccinated. What it means is that they've received 2 doses of the 2-dose schedules or scheduled vaccines, or a dose of Johnson, for which 1 dose is deemed to have been fully vaccinated. Or if you receive 1 dose, you are deemed to be fully vaccinated. So in total, that's what we have.
Would you attribute the reduction in active cases to, let's say, how much we have, how we have fared in terms of the vaccination drive? Or is it generally the disease is not, it's on the decline on itself, or is the vaccine that has led to us seeing a decline in the number of active cases, for example?
Well, that is a very tricky and interesting question. Remember that when we started, it was not just one intervention, so I wouldn't ascribe a total attribution of what we have now to vaccination, but definitely vaccination has played a critical role in getting us where we are today, and not just in Ghana, but across the globe. And so vaccines have been key in terms of the control of the pandemic. But I wouldn't say 100% it was because it's been because of vaccines.
When you have enough vaccine in supply, then the issue of wasted doses also come into question, because around the world we've seen some countries complaining that they have been able to cross the hurdle of getting enough supply, and there is issue of hesitancy. What is the picture like for us as a country?
Yeah, so as you rightly put it, we have had quite a number of people coming for vaccines or taking up the vaccines. We also have people who are still undecided, and probably those are the ones we want to call hesitant. So we still have pockets of hesitancy. It's been right from the onset because people didn't have enough information. Then also the perceived risk. When people perceive that they are at risk, then obviously they run for vaccines. When cases are going down, people think that everything is fine, and so they may hesitate. But for vaccines, vaccines are given to people who are well. And it's usually given when you don't have, in fact, the best time to get vaccinated is when you don't have a disease. When the disease is right, vaccination doesn't even work optimally. And so it's a very mixed, it's a very interesting one. And for now, because the cases are going down, people think that everything is fine and that they do not need the vaccines. If you've been following events on the globe, you know that some areas, particularly China and other giant nations, have started recording cases. And China, for example, may be in its worst forms in terms of the COVID epidemic. And so it's not over. The more you have people unvaccinated, the higher the risk of getting new variants, because then the virus has the opportunity to move freely from one person to another without it being checked. And in so doing, that is when you are likely to come down with different variants, or something like some Omicron type or some Delta type of variant. And so that is what we want to avoid. And that is why we still are encouraging people to come for the vaccine, because we know vaccines save lives. And the major role of the vaccine is to prevent people from getting severe illness, and also by that getting admitted, which nobody wants. And the admission may end up with death. And so once you are able to prevent all these, then you are good to go. And so we still have vaccines playing a big role in terms of this pandemic. The pandemic is not yet over.
Very finally, we've in the past heard about the need for boosters and those stuff to enhance protection. Where are we with that plan?
Yes, it's still a policy that we are implementing. So what the high management team has done is to make provision for every person in Ghana to get a booster if the time is ripe. And so plans have been put in place. And we started boosters quite a long time ago, and we are still pursuing that. So even within the current deployment plan, in terms of what we are doing now, that's the national vaccination days that we started on Thursday. We still are giving all the first dose, the second dose, and then of course the boosters as well. So boosters still have a place. You asked about wastage. Yes, wastage is a normal thing for everybody. I mean, in terms of vaccination, when you are doing a campaign and even in routine. For now, our wastage rate is just around 6-7%, which is within the acceptable range. And so that's where we are.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time this afternoon.